Aujourd'hui, je vais parler de my thoughts on Naomi Osaka, her role as a mental health advocate, and how her struggle gels with her chosen profession as a tennis player. XenPuck here. So, for those of you who don't know me that well, I really enjoy tennis. I mean, watching it, not so much playing it, because I'm lazy AF, frankly. But yes, I love watching it. Part of the reason that I retired early is to go to the US Open every year. Has that actually occurred? Actually only during year one of my early retirement, as year two was last year in Pride COVID time. And this upcoming September of year three, well, I'm about to have the wedding of my lady's dreams. So alas, foiled again. Anyway, one of the biggest tennis stories of this particular year of 2021 is how one of the ladies' side's top players, Naomi Osaka, refused to do press, okay, and had to withdraw from the French Open because of her stance of not doing press. And, you know, the reason for this is that she's talking about trying to, take her own mental well-being into account. And afterwards, she was applauded for her efforts, for putting her mental health first. While on the, opposite side, I guess the machine that is the tennis authorities were quite aghast that an athlete would dare to go against the rules on talking to the media, right? So she was fined, and then eventually she had to take herself out of the French Open tournament, right? Here's why I want to talk about and give my 2 cents, because both sides seems to have a reasonable stance, right? But first, some caveats, right? There's really 2 major caveats that I want to get out of the way. First and foremost, I agree health is absolutely the most important thing to any specific person, right? You can be as successful as you can imagine at any chosen profession, but if it's driving you insane, then is the success still worth it? I'd argue the answer is an unequivocal no, right? No job is worth hurting yourself over, right? And mental anguish is probably actually worse than physical wear and tear, right? After all, we know what can alleviate physical pain, which is just a question of rest and nutrition, right? But with mental pain, people go through years of therapy, probably drugs and medications, still not get better, right? So for that reason alone, I can empathize with Osaka, right? Hey, if she can't take certain activities, then by all means don't do it, right? Because she's the best judge of her own health. Second caveat, right? I just want to say, I think Osaka is a great tennis player, right? Really fluid to watch, and she's quite young as well, so I'd imagine if she continues at her pace of improvement, I think right now she's like ranked number 2 in the world, right? So it's not inconceivable that she'll be the successor of the ladies' crown for years, if not decades more to come, right? So I cannot fault her talent at tennis. She definitely has it, right? She's way, way, way better than most people can even imagine. So no knocks on that front whatsoever. But, and there's a but coming. Why did I want to make a clip to begin with, right? That is how her recent choices affect how we view celebritydom, right? I suppose you'd call it that. Or fame in general, right? Now, now that I've gotten the caveats out of the way, let me get to my main argument as to why I think Osaka's simply in the wrong profession, okay? The main point is this. Along with celebrity comes the scrutiny, right? Osaka's got a great personal story, right? Because she is Japanese-American, straddling between these 2 major cultures. That's awesome. And I get that she gets some weird questions sometimes, and she's young and hasn't learned how to deal with it, and it's awkward and probably sometimes unfair, as she also gets, sexist questions and cultural questions that people that are not in her specific situation would get, right? But you know what? The media scrutiny is part of the price of being a celebrity, isn't it? Now, for as many people who ask or comment about how inspirational she can be, there will be an equal number of people who want to ask questions to tear her down because, well, they're jealous, right? They're flip sides of the same coin. And that coin is the public, humanity, okay? Humanity as a whole is as petty and awful as it can be joyous and generous, right? What reporters ask is just a reflection of how people actually are. So if you're willingly standing in the spotlight, and I don't think anybody can argue that Osaka is not a willing participant, right? You know, getting to world's #2. I mean, it's not like she's a recluse and only comes out to play a game, right? When you're a professional athlete, you are at a basic, essential level an entertainer. So you don't get to choose what questions you get asked. I mean, give short, curt answers if you'd like. Hell, give the same exact answer to any question and every question if you'd like. But you don't get the choice to simply ignore answering questions at all, right? This is part of being famous, right? I mean, we watch sports like we watch movies for the human story, right? If all we wanted to do is see a ball hit very hard or very accurately, we could just build a machine to do that. That would do a much better job or much more consistently than a human could, right? But that's not nearly interesting or fun. Like, nobody wants to watch a tennis machine shoot balls, okay? Now, of course, I'm a problem solver. So what are my suggestions for her, right? Since I do empathize with her talent, with her, proclivity or her desire to keep herself more sane, right? But like I said, to me, her chosen profession as a professional athlete means that you have to deal with the press and the public, not just on your terms, right? So what are my suggestions? Well, I think that's quite easy to get at, right? Because I think she's a great athlete. Well, if she makes a poor professional athlete, because she has to deal with uncomfortable questions, then you know what you could do? Just be a coach at the mid to low tier level. Because believe me, if you're teaching high school kids or middle school kids how to play tennis, just, for the love of the sport, there will be no media hounding you, okay? Or you could go the nutritionist or physical therapist route, as I assume, Osaka has been incredibly fit like all her life, right? So she must have ideas about how to stay fit, right? These are common careers that are related to athletics but has very little or zero public-facing aspect, right? What's the worst questions you could get from some disgruntled parents or clients? These are like one-on-one interactions, right? No worldwide fame in these type of choices that you would make, right? My point is, it is bizarre to hear someone who makes money being like an athletic superstar celebrity who has endorsements and sponsorships to say that they're uncomfortable dealing with the media, right? I mean, look, I want to give everybody benefit of the doubt, right? So maybe it's a temporary situation and she'll get over it with some medication or meditation, I would suggest, right? I sure hope so, because I think she's a tremendous amount of fun to watch, and I love her personal dual heritage story, right? But don't torture yourself. Work and money isn't everything in life, right? If you're really that hurt, just pick a different job, right? There's joys in all sorts of places in the world. But you don't get to selectively choose only the good parts of fame and not have to deal with the crappy parts. I mean, who a society chooses to be a celebrity is, again, just a reflection of what the society value, right? And in the West, the world that we live in, basically, we value athletics and openness. So either get on board or get out. Okay, so what do you guys think that Osaka should do? I mean, I recognize that maybe I'm too limited in my view and has never really been, close to a celebrity, right? Like, have you guys ever heard of any celebrity who's gotten what Osaka seems to want, which is all the good coverage, but no nitpicking from the, undesired type of coverage? Anyone? Bueller? Comment below if you can think of any. Sub and like too if you'd like. Or whatever. Okay. Cheers. À la prochaine.